And let's start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome the ones online. Agenda, anything there?
I do not.
Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Second.
Mary? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Minutes of our December 3rd meeting, any corrections?
The only thing I had is, I think there was a spot in there that Lee, and maybe I missed it in the minutes, that Lee kind of gave a presentation about the property tax issue at that meeting. I don't know
That's
that it
the
was.
second minutes, second
That's
sentence.
the second set of minutes, yeah.
Nope, he gave it on the 3rd also.
Oh.
Right, when,
Oh, yeah, that's right, he did, yeah.
yeah,
He explained the 10 and 20% state
Yeah.
increase.
Yep.
Yeah,
before we did the resolution. Yeah,
before we appointed him, yes.
and then the other thing was for the, let me find it. For the planning and zoning number 2, it says motion and second to concur with the planning commission recommendation. So I think the planning commission recommended to remove that stipulation. So I don't know that we concurred with the planning commission.
It was the-
if that makes a
It was
difference.
the recommendation, or as the
Audubon Township
township and or
in the resort.
resort.
Yeah,
They came to agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah.
but that wasn't a recommendation, that didn't come from the planning commission.
No.
So that was all I had.
That changed when it came to the board.
Yep.
Came forward. Anything else?
Just on the second set of minutes, under the smart monies, I think we should probably list it that it was mentioned that
It should include with the
on the,
South 7 project in Lake Park, the municipal street 80, it's 80 something.
there's along with 7, there's another part of that project that just should be listed. It's just a loop in the city, around one block, but. Yeah, CASA 7,
I don't know the number, but
CASA 7, 14,
yeah.
shoulder, no,
It'll be
CASA,
included in that project when they do it, but it's separate funding.
wait a minute, let's look at this wording here. 7 from,
7 from 114 to 16, 16 from 7.
okay, yeah, now it makes sense. It's hard to read that widening one of it, but the smart, it's just mill overlay and sidewalks, ADA compliant on CASA 7 in the city of Lake Park. It's also extends that, so it probably should read CASA 7 and municipal, whatever that number that road is,
State 80 something.
in the city of Lake Park, because that goes out of town, that CASA.
Yeah.
Or does it go to the edge of town, or,
7?
yeah, to where we're gonna do the work?
I think it goes all the way up. Or were some of that done before?
I think it just goes maybe to the city limits, up to the T there, or could go back and look at that map, but
No.
it's probably just say CASA 7 and that road that municipal road in the city. I suppose I could look on it online to see what that road number is.
You want the map? This is what he's talking
Yeah,
about?
it won't blow it up enough and
I'm gonna go into the,
park.
Front Street, First Street, and Lake Street. The portion of Front, Lake, and First Street. I'd just put that in there, a portion of that also is that. It's just that small portion that goes around.
Half a block each way.
Yeah.
Okay, minutes.
Dave, you have any?
I have nothing.
Oh.
No,
Anything else on the December
that's like
3rd?
2 weeks in a row. Or 2
Do I have a
meetings.
motion on the December 3rd meeting?
I'll make a motion on the December 3rd minutes with the corrections.
Second.
Motion by Erica, second by Barry. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Carried. Okay, then the.
Motion to approve the December 12th minutes
motion
at the
by
TNT meeting with the addition.
Erica, you second?
Second, yep.
Erica, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Moving on to the consent agenda. Anything on there on more clarification or pulled or?
I haven't been on the bridge. Is that in Frazee? Did it come out pretty nice?
I haven't been down there since it was completely finished, but yeah, last time I was it looked nice. The project, the overall project looked pretty good through there. With that, motion to approve the consent agenda,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Erica, Dave. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carry. Hey, is anybody on open forum back there?
Oh, nobody signed up?
Nobody?
Nothing, not even.
Okay, thanks.
Not even Jerry.
Jerry, you want to talk?
All quiet.
Okay. Moving on to reports and correspondence. What's,
I can go first. I had our EDA Housing Subcommittee. We just had continued discussion on our housing management contract, and then looked at some leases that we'll bring to EDA on Thursday. Then I just had the AMC conference, which just a couple of things that I want to note about that is I attended a workshop on the Minnesota African American Family Preservation Child Welfare Disparity Act. Very.
And I did too.
And you did too, yes. And they're, really what it is they're restructuring how child protection is done to make sure that all families are provided active efforts to prevent placement and for reunification. It has the potential to cost counties hundreds of thousands of dollars. We did complete a study that we don't have the results of yet, but they should be available soon, which will estimate how much it will cost Becker County. Currently, there is no state aid from the state to implement this act, but it
Projected in 2 years.
it does not go in, the act doesn't become effective until 2027. So of course, that's a big concern with the budget deficit that we learned about a lot at the AMC. You know, there's a $3.5 to $5 billion
State deficit.
state deficit for the 28-29 biennium. And then just the other thing that was really talked about a lot was just the split state legislature this year is going to be interesting. I hope that it means that both parties will be forced to work together. There's an equal split down the House. The Senate has one DFL majority, but there are legal charges pending for the one DFL senator. That could change that. She's already been stripped of all of her DFL caucus and committees, so she can only vote on the floor. So really it'll force the parties to work together.
And then,
So,
and there's that election too, that I think they're deciding tomorrow, the judge is deciding tomorrow.
yep,
About the election where it was the DFL candidate won by 14 votes.
With 20
21
missing.
ballots got thrown away, yeah.
so if that were to change, then that would give Republicans a one vote majority.
Yeah.
But this is, did they say the last time this happened was in 1979?
Yep.
So as of right now, what they're doing is the House has co-chairs for every committee. So they're splitting
They're going to chair each,
responsibilities.
they're going to switch who's running the meeting every other meeting.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
And then each committee has an equal number of Republicans in each committee, just to balance it. So the last time they're hoping it's gonna work. The last time in 79, it didn't. So I hope.
They did it differently in 79,
Yeah,
I
they did
think.
it differently though, yeah.
A little bit more on your, there has to be a better name for this new law coming into
There
effect.
isn't, but
But it's the child protection law that protects those in need. And one thing I always, when you hear about it, you just shake your head right away. But the studies, and I think that it looked like it had some bipartisan support at the state. I mean, it wasn't just party line voting on this. So you have to think that there is some real concerns about placements from child protection. And I think nationally we are not doing well in how those placements are going.
Minnesota is one of the worst states for
So there-
disproportionate placements for African American and Native American
There
children.
does need to be improvements and changes. The problem is there are some concerns in there that our rural community health people or child protection leaders are trying to stress to the state that these things in Hennepin and Ramsey don't work out in rural Minnesota because we don't have these type of resources. We don't have these alternate places to use. So there are a lot of concerns. And Bill Stearns, whether or not his numbers were accurate, predicted that this would cost his county, I kind of figured it was a 10% levy increase just for this one item. With no state funding. And with state looking at a huge deficit in those years, it's going to be tough to figure out
Fund that.
who's going to fund that house. But those are the big concerns. So it's a very significant piece of legislation that we hope they can figure out how to allow rural counties to do things better for what each county has kind of instead of going with a state model, because just the transportation costs to get kids into places that would help them.
Like mental health.
Yeah, was
Appointments.
huge. So this is something that I think the county and the tribe need to work closely together because obviously for our Native American community, that would be we could have a more local than try to move these kids all over the country. So
Yeah, and I think our child protection they work together currently very well with.
right,
with
but
the
I mean,
tribe.
I think we might have to have a community. What was it? A community resource center instead of just putting them in placement. There's some, but there's some, and those are big things. Those aren't just things you can pop up in a.
And they talked about at that they talked about the importance of family resource centers. Is that what you're talking
family
about?
resource centers.
And there is currently one. Cornerstone is currently looking at opening one. I think they just got a large grant to open one. So good place to partner.
Anything else? Or?
Are you keep going or?
Nope, I'm done.
So going right up, excuse me. I think we also went to MRC, and that's where we talked. Our legislator Torkelson was there and spoke, and he kind of reiterated those same things. One thing that he said that they're going to be working on is trying to change the law that was passed, change the law of leave for not the safe one,
Paid
the paid.
Parenting, family, parenting leaves.
Yeah, so they're going to try to get some changes on that so that small businesses aren't so impacted by that, because it will shut down some small businesses. It's just so restrictive and so, I mean, if you have it is very, anyway, they're going to try to change that law to get some changes, and it's more friendly to some small businesses.
So I can.
I think that one doesn't come into effect until
Right, it's not in effect yet,
26.
so.
26. So I'll chime in on it a little bit. So the sick and safe leave is the first thing that the unfunded mandate the state has done. I'm not against sick and safe leave, but the issue that is mainly with my part-time employees, and a lot of the small businesses are probably the same way, that they won't occur until about 2 years from when it started. They'll be up to 80 hours, and they can roll over 80 hours every year. So they would want to use that before that. Well, if I got to pay that out in 2 years plus this family leave, That's non-funded. That's catastrophic. That's not good. That's gonna, and I think our business is pretty stable, and there's some that may not be as stable and they won't be in business. That's my opinion anyway.
Well, and I think some of those, yeah, there's just so many unintended circumstances
Yeah.
that you have a good idea, but when you get all through with it, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's good intentions with bad.
Bad planning.
Also went to, John and I were at the Tribal Relations Forum. That was on Sunday afternoon. Tim Sumner's the chair of that from Beltrami Commissioner. And we talked to Tribal Training and Certification Partnership. And we said, we know Denise has this under control and pretty confident that we're right in that we know that we're following within the rules of this. And they helped with the state and federal rules. Isn't that right? Denise, are you familiar with their?
TTCTP.
They're from the U of M. They just help following, that the counties follow the rules that they're supposed to be following from state and federal.
Becker County has been 100% on their ICWA audit for the last couple of years, one of very few counties in the state. So I would say Becker County does very good with.
I said that I think our departments work well together. I don't necessarily think our politicians work that well, but I think our departments work well, and NRM is a real good example. And we had NRM meeting, and we had Jessica Johnson's was there representing the tribe, so we did ask her to look into that partnership on that legacy grant request for studying archaeological sites they have concerns over. So who did we say should take the lead on that?
Talk to somebody at the tribe, wasn't she?
Yeah, and because Jamie left, the girl,
Right.
the
They
lady
don't have
that,
anybody yet.
the lady that was head of their TIPA, so we're kind of waiting for that, I guess. We discussed the shelter, the Dunlock shelter update. They're moving along well. Any thoughts? When are we doing the demo on the old one, or are we still?
We didn't decide yet. Next year, we're not in a hurry, I guess, to do that.
One thing that I suggested is maybe instead of just ripping up all that concrete, cutting out a slab for a table. Oh, I got a tickle in my throat. Anyway, Richard, do you want to chime in on any of the
Well, with
land use stuff?
the bad medicine cell tower is up
Oh, is it?
finally. It's not wired yet. They got to run wire to it. But that looks like that'll be ready in the spring. Otherwise, we did those forest roads. We talked about that. They're done with that for the season. They'll go back to that in the spring.
The first thing was our surveyor told us that we have 12 surveys done, those section points, and he started from the east to the west on the line of 138, 139, and they soon will have 48 of those completed. How many points did they say there was?
There's 7,800 total in the county, and he's trying to get 201. Barry, is that right?
Yeah.
I think.
For that $300,000 grant we got from the state. So it's a portion, but at least we're getting some of them done. So.
And he said there was a lot of them there. They're finding them, and they're been pretty accurate. He doesn't expect that kind of.
He hasn't found any old ones. He's found some current
Yeah.
ones, but he hasn't found any on this line. He's found some old ones.
But he said it's going to be more trouble going north and south.
Those lines aren't.
Yeah, he said that's going to be a different story, but.
I think Woods and Wheels granting application. We did that trail feasibility study and funding, Dunlocks to Shoreham. I think Phil was pretty interested in that, where we can't get, with that trail though, we want permanent easement, so it might have to take the road right away and then go back into Shoreham. But I'm still working on that. The tree seedlings are on here. We reviewed some land sales. Mary, you want to chime in on any land sales? What, you have an anticipated date for any?
February.
And those are the sales required by the state. And then we are looking at some parcels that are still that we can sell. Not very many. I think there was 9 you have.
Right, landlocked.
Yeah. And that was probably about it.
Courthouse to it.
I think the courthouse committee, I think
Everything's
everything's
on-
coming.
Everything's on the agenda.
So.
Is that it?
I'll go next. So I had a couple. I had the Historical Society. So they have an issue in the Historical Society, which I talked about before, about the humidification of the building. The building is too dry for, to be considered to have certain things in a museum. And that was supposed to be done when it was built, but then there's no evidence. It was a mess, but they got it all figured out. So they're going to figure out how much it's going to cost. The architect is going to help with some of the process. And then as soon as they know what that's going to cost, and then they also, one of the cost savings they did when they built the building was they decided not to do any flooring in it and just seal the cement floor to save some money. So then they knew this was going to come up, but there's obviously a lot of sound that bounces around the building. And so they're going to figure out how they're going to get some bids on and some estimates on how to get that situated. And then they're going to kick off their fundraising. So, but they want to have a price for what they're going to do before they start doing that fundraising. And it should happen. I would guess by the next meeting that should happen. One of the things that we did, or the board did, is they changed the annual meeting to the first quarter of the year instead of the end of the year. They felt it was better to have it then because more people there's more information they can give people at the annual meeting. Part of it too was the speaker they're going to have couldn't come until the beginning of the year, but they felt it would be better to do it then anyway. And just there's a reminder, Polar Fest is coming up and the museum will do some things in the Historical Society will do some things with Polar Fest. So that's coming up in February. And then I don't know, I don't remember if I talked about this at the last board. I think it happened after the last board meeting. But anyway, Dick Heacock, some of you might have known him. He was a member of our community for a long time and he was a member of the Historical Society board. He passed away. So the board has decided to make a memorial somewhere at the museum somewhere. I mean, maybe it's a bench outside or something on the patio or their little patio up top, or they're going to figure out something. But I think we've already come up with like $650 or $750 to do this. So it'll be good. It'll be kind of cool. Then I had a couple more. I had Lakes Country Service Co-op. So we went down there. We had 2 new board members that were elected to the board for next year, and then 2 board members got reelected. The 2 that didn't get reelected didn't run. So it was so I helped canvass the election, and it was really simple. There were 4 candidates and 4 spots, so they all won. And so anyway, and then there was actually 5 spots open. So Jim Fish, who has been a long time member of the board, who was going to go off last year, he got appointed last year and this year to that 5th spot because they didn't have enough people running for it. So that's just that. Then the last meeting we had a special meeting for the Partnership for Health. That meeting was about Otter Tail has decided to leave our partnership, our joint powers agreement for the CHB, effective, well, they're voting on it today. They've done the intent, so now their board has to vote. We're assuming that the board will approve that, and it'll be effective January this year for January of 26 is when they will be done. So we talked, Denise and Amanda and all of her staff, we discussed and we decided that we would like to remain in the Partnership for Health with whoever else, with Clay County, and if Wilkin stays, then it would be with Wilkin also. So we don't need any board action or anything. We're not going to make any changes. So I just wanted to update you guys on that. And that's it.
Richard, do you have any more?
Oh, I had Human Services, and we looked at some contracts, and that's all on the agenda. And then I had a safety meeting. I'm the safety commissioner, if you guys, so you know. Yeah.
Running.
And so we talked about, we're we're just getting this safety thing going. So we're working on how that's gonna work. We talked about incidents. All we had was, deputies running over deer at night. So that's our big thing there. And then this Narcan nasal spray, we're gonna try and get, that's for opioid overdoses. So we're gonna try and get more of those in different places and get more people trained to use it. And we're looking at getting people to report near misses. So even if you don't have an accident, if you almost had an accident, we're gonna try and get information on that so we can avoid accidents. And that's all I got.
Okay, I didn't have a lot. AMC, like Barry said, we sat in on the Indian Affairs meeting, and part of the presentation was a group from Scott County and the cities down around Mystic Lake.
Oh, yeah.
How well they work together. Well, the tribe's got so much money down there, they pay for a lot of stuff, and and a lot of it is positive. I'm not saying that, but when you're dealing
It's a
with
lot easier to work well together when you've got a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Mystic Lake Tribe was funding huge projects and, a lot of county benefit too.
Well,
So.
yeah, they actually funded, I don't know if it's off the interstate or off one of the major roads down there, all the interchanges to get to their casino.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's easier to get there. So,
Which served their purpose,
Yeah.
but it
and it
made
help safety and so forth. But apparently they work very well with a couple of cities down there too. So, but you got the money, you can contribute and.
and hopefully, with White Earth gaining, the cannabis and the gambling, they hopefully can be more financially secure too. And I know there's some discussion that they might be working with our environmental in the future and helping with some of those costs, with taxation. So, I mean, if their financial success will help everyone in the area. I mean, will help with the relationship with the county too, because they will be able to fund some of the things that they are requesting.
And then the other committees attended, highway and a few others, or transportation down there. Everything's pretty much set. Go back to looking for additional funding from the legislature to continue for transportation. I'm still falling behind on that. Richard and I had highway, and a lot of that was discussed at our truth and taxation road plan meeting. The only other thing we did have a vacancy. One of the regular maintenance employees resigned, and I think already got several good candidates that applied for it, so which is good. So, other than that, everything else. Anything else?
No, but I think did Matt give you, from AMC, give you a copy of the possible platform or proposed
I did get
policy?
the email.
So can you share that with the rest of the board?
Yes, I have it on email. If you-
I got a copy down there.
You got
I
a
think I
copy?
grabbed one down there, yeah.
One of the
They're on the
committee
table.
meetings.
Yeah,
I don't think I do.
no.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
just-
got it by email. too.
Yeah, you could, if you send it to all of us, yeah.
Yeah.
I have one though.
It's proposed for.
Okay, moving on, item 3. We had our administrators evaluation closed session after our last meeting, and came out very positive, and I'm just gonna hit a few of the top things that we discussed, and said Carrie is doing very good on. She's had very good communication with all board members, keeping us kind of in line and in tuned and up to speed. She received a lot of positive feedback from department heads, employees on how she handles the county. And I think one of the big things for me too as chairman this year is her willingness to take a lead on certain items that come up. It might be meeting with other counties, other entities. She takes a lead and researches it, studies it, and gets involved and keep Becker County moving forward with these issues, whether it's down in the legislature, lobbyists, and we're just working on a lot of other things with neighboring counties and other entities. City of Detroit Lakes and other cities in the county. I think the communication between the administration and commissioners has been great to understand even the commissioner roles and how they're supposed to respond and stuff, and kind of keep us in line. She's done very well at that. Carrie conducts herself in a very positive, firm leadership of bringing the county together as a whole to be more functional and to represent us as working for the taxpayers of the county. So always open door policy. And I think one thing she started here in the last month or two is provides a weekly summary to us board members on what she's worked on the past week, which keeps everybody in tune to what's happening. I think as board chair, I'm going to hear a lot of it, meeting with her more often than the regular board members, but now everybody hears the same thing. So the county board is pleased with Carrie's overall performance and encourage her to keep her positive and firm leadership going forward. And with that, any other comments from the board?
No, but thank you, Carrie. Being at AMC and spending some time with you and having supper together, I mean, those are the relationships you want to have and build on. So thank you.
Yep, I'd like to say the same thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Yeah, she's taken a very positive role since her not wanting to.
Sorry,
Her face is as red as her coat.
And doing it. So again, congratulations, and we'd recommend her going to her next pay grade and her anniversary in February.
Yep.
So again, thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
That's very enjoyable. I'm sorry I had to leave early. That's been the last day morning with you guys, but.
I didn't stay for all Wednesday morning either. I probably should have stayed a little longer. I caught in a snowstorm on the way.
Yeah, I know, that was bad.
It was a good keynote
So you
speaker.
got just past, almost past Monticello, it was bad.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to appointments. Links?
Yes, who was up? I can't remember offhand, but they both,
They both want to do it, yeah.
Is there two down there?
yes.
Yes.
You have that? But I could, Ben Grimsley, I think I expressed, have we received anyone else interest on the library? If not, I'd make an appointment for Ben Grimsley on the Lake City Regional Library Board.
Motion to appoint Ben to the library.
I'll second that.
Second by Dave. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It'd be really nice for him to move in with the background with this new building coming up. And I mean, he has some knowledge of very well knowledge of the finances, but of the transition that's coming before us too.
Okay, nothing on the Cormor Lake.
I just got to make sure who is the,
Their names are in the last packet, aren't they?
did we get a letter on that?
It was, I didn't have it open.
I can go back and look.
Did we have any?
Jeff Moritz and Sam
Glenbauer?
Plattenbauer.
Yeah. I knew Jeff was on, but I'll make a motion. Jeff has talked to me and well, both of them stated in the letter that they'd like to be reappointed, but I've talked to Jeff and he would also, so. I would make a motion to reappoint Jeff Moritz and Sam to the Cormor Lakes watershed.
Motion to appoint Jeff Moritz. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Erica. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
and hold on the other one until you talk to him?
That was both of them.
That was both?
I said both names, so
Okay.
if that works.
More than Plattenbauer? Okay. Sounds good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Moving on, County Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Like all of you had already indicated, I also attended the AMC conference. I attended the general government policy group, so that was good to hear, and I don't think I have anything additional to add. You have all already talked about that. A few weeks back, I attended up in Monoman a joint regional EOC regional training on an Amtrak. I've probably referenced this before, but I was talking about going, now I actually went. It was a mock regional training for Amtrak derailment that they basically made up a story that it had happened in DL and how an EOC would be formed and how they would respond to that. It was an all-day event, so it was interesting to watch how that all came together. Last week, I met with the Chamber of Commerce and Jackie, as well as Project 412, Amy Stearns, and we were just really talking about going forward and projects that we could team on, or ideas, community-wide, regionally wide, and then we'll also be looking at including the city. So if there's any upcoming, and again, it was just really kind of a brainstorming session. So we're expecting that that'll go forward as a group, and really trying to look at what we can, resources that perhaps can be shared, or what we can jointly work on going forward. Under the administrative rules, I did push out an email to all that I made the decision to close the courthouse Christmas Eve at noon to the public. So if employees that are hourly want to take the time off, then they would put in the appropriate time with their department heads and or supervisors. And that's been, as I understand the story historically, as how that has went. I don't believe we've dealt with that in the last couple of years because it's fallen on a weekend. So obviously it's in the middle of the week this year. Through the AMC conference, I don't recall anybody talking about this, but it had been talked about that with elected officials that they do stay on into January until the next replacement.
Oh, John brought that up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, did I miss it?
No, he brought up the.
I was going to say, I didn't hear it today.
Well, I didn't realize until DDA did that article
Or it was DDA, excuse me. Yeah.
in our last magazine explaining that.
Yeah, so in the past, you would have ended at the last meeting in
Right.
December. So I just wanted to put that all on your radar, that's why he's still sitting. He'll be still sitting here in January until we switch over.
Because really the commissioner-elects aren't on so-called duty till they're actually sworn in. Take the oath.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll figure out the logistics of that in our January meeting. And then the only other item I have is the resolution 1224 2B for the 2025 scheduled meetings that were put together going forward, that I would request a motion and a second and approval.
That did not include it includes some AMC meetings, but do we have the dates for the district meetings, the District 4 meetings? We don't have.
We
those
didn't
dates
have
on
those.
I
We
don't
couldn't
think
find those.
Haven't really set yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do we have the joint governance meeting?
that's part of our board days.
That's part of our board. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those, and then we don't have any dates for if we do tribal.
Yeah,
meetings.
we put on everything we could find.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve 2B.
Motion by Dave to approve 2B,
I'll second.
second by Erica. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried.
And I was going to mention this Friday too, I will be in Fergus Falls for the regional MACA meeting that is scheduled. Just wanted to mention that as well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Chair, could I go? Oh, you can come up. I just had to mention one thing. With that appointment of Ben Grimsley, I forgot to say thank you to Terry Khalil, who served out a full term or 3 terms of 9 years, so she was not allowed to. Terry poured her heart and soul into the library and Lake Agassiz Regional Library System, and I think she's going to try to be part of the transition team up at the Moorhead when Laura moves over to the new system next year. So Terry, thank you for everything you've done at the library, and acknowledge how important your time there was, and part of the success of the library is because of Terry and her passion for it. So thank you. Thanks for.
Moving on to Mary.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm requesting approval of Resolution 1224-2A, which sets the maximum tax levy to be collected for the 2025 tax year.
A motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve 2A.
Motion
Second.
by Dave, second by Barry. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mary.
Denise.
Hey, Denise.
Good morning.
Morning.
I've got Lucy Meyer, our behavioral health supervisor, with me today too, to help me answer any questions you might have regarding the personnel request. We're asking for a full-time social worker to do aftercare coordination. Fully funded through the AMHI grant and TCM billing. The costs that you see are the worst case scenario at step 10. That would likely not happen at that, quite at that rate, but we want to provide you just in case that would happen.
69.
And then as far as the grant continuing, we have every indication that it would continue after the first 2 years. It is a state grant. We did confirm that. However, the rest of the BCOW entities, the other counties, they have that position. They've had one since 2005, and another has been funded since 2010. So we have every reason to believe that this position would continue after those first 2 years.
And you actually we could make a little bit on this. We could,
Potentially, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was our concern in finance yesterday, and Denise kind of explained it, what you just said here, that here we thought it'd probably sunset in a couple of years, the grant money, and then we'd be left with a position filled. And
Of course, we can't make any guarantees, but yeah.
Yeah, just the biggest concern I had was, not in these next 2 years, but the following 2-year biennium with that big state deficit of could be $5 billion.
And was this recently increased, this grant? And have we ever received this grant before?
We have received this grant repeatedly for how many years, would you say? 20
Yeah,
or
a
more?
long time, because it funds other things in our communities. It is the first time that we are receiving funding for an aftercare position. It is, the majority of the funding, as Denise explained, will come through the Adult Mental Health Initiative grant, which is, the BCOW regions have been receiving for a number of years. I know yesterday after Sharon had come to me with the concern around the budget shortfall and whether or not this will be able to be continued funding, I did reach out to the other 3 counties that are currently receiving AMHI funds for this position. And as Denise had shared, there's a county who's been receiving funding for aftercare for 19 years, and the other 2 are 10 or plus years. So this funding has been available for a long time. We just haven't accessed it.
yeah, thanks. Wishes a motion to approve 2J.
I'll make a motion to approve 2J.
Motion by Richard, a second.
I'll second.
By Erica. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks.
Thanks,
you.
Lucy and Denise.
Thank you.
No.
I think I should have had a barrier to.
We're sick over here.
It's just a tickle in my throat. I can't get rid of it.
I'll be dead next meeting.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So my first item here is asking for the board to approve the contract addendum for the LELS Dispatch and Jail Union, similar to the addendums that I had at the last meeting for their vacation carryover, increasing to 240 hours, and then changing the date from December 31st to March 31st.
A motion to approve the addendum for LAS dispatcher jail.
Can we do the ASME one at the same time too? Or same thing?
Do you want to do the Ask Me at the same time? Okay, do you want all three of the contract
Yeah.
addendums at the same time? Okay. So the second contract addendum that I'm asking for approval on is the vacation changing from 240 carryover to March 31st from December 21st or 31st. Good grief, I can't talk. For the ASME union. And then the third contract addendum is moving the ASME union from the previous longevity scale to the current longevity scale in the other union contracts.
So it brings them up all the same.
To the same, correct, yes.
I have a motion to approve those three.
I will make that motion to approve those three addendums.
Motion by Dave, a second.
I'll second.
Erica, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next item that I have is a change to the non-union, the policy, personnel policy, 7.3 overtime and compensatory time. So changing as of January 1st, we were able to get it into our UKG system so that now people can ask for that time on their time cards versus having to submit a paper form. We would put this into effect for January 1 and going forward. And then this would also mean that people are not allowed to have a separate check for that. It would come on their regular check. That was never actually in policy. It was just on the form that people filled out previously.
So nothing changes with it other than the process of how to
Correct.
get it and how to
Correct.
get it.
It's still, people can request it at any point in time. It'll just ease out the process, making it a little bit easier for payroll to process it, as well as making sure that it is done in a timely manner, that no paper forms are missed.
I'll make a motion to approve policy 7.3.
Motion by Erica, second.
I'll second.
Second by Dave.
Didn't we already approve this though? I thought we had already approved it,
Thank you.
but anyway. We didn't approve it because it wasn't in, but I thought we approved the, never mind. I thought we already approved this one.
Well, there was a revision to it when Carrie was in this position, moving
okay.
it from only twice a year, I believe was the previous,
Okay,
to any time.
Maybe you had brought this to one of our committees, that's why, because I've seen this.
Courthouse, yes,
Yeah.
I did.
All right, gotcha.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next items that I have are approval of the job descriptions done by the DDA. I'll review kind of the changes that have happened with these. So the first one here is the first assistant county attorney was previously a grade 17, moving to a grade 18, which is due to adding a career ladder into the attorney's office for the attorneys. An associate attorney is what is getting added. That would be at a grade 16, then moving the assistant attorney to a 17, the first assistant to an 18, is how that movement is happening.
I think we're just approving the possibilities. We're not necessarily,
Yes.
I think we got to be clear that we're not approving any changes to the employees themselves. That's with the department head looking at that, so.
Correct. Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Yes, so
Yes.
approving the job descriptions, and currently well, it would actually be anybody that is currently in the assistant attorney position, and there is one in the current first assistant attorney position. Those we would be looking at moving potentially January January 1st because.
But I
we
think
do have
that has to
people-
go back to the department head then.
I think what you're saying too is in conjunction with the recommendation from the department heads to we have the
If there's a
potential.
movement, it has to
If there's a
come.
movement, yes, and that absolutely would happen.
Okay. And then the next position that is actually in addition to the attorney's office is the paralegal position. There is potential for one person in that department having the qualifications to move into that, but this would just be looking at approving the job description and going back to the department head to make any recommendations to change into that position.
I'm on by phone.
Those are all the changes there.
I can get that one.
Then the next one that would be potentially changing would be the human resource assistant position, moving to a human resource generalist position. So during the DDA study, it was found that our current HR assistant is doing quite a bit more duties than what would really fall in line with the assistant position, and wanting to move to a generalist position to be more in line with what she's currently doing. I do have some county comparisons in there. And as you can see, Carlton and Polk County are the two that are most closely aligned with Becker County for size and how many people they have in the HR office. And as you can see, they have a director and either a generalist or a specialist in their departments.
What page is that on again?
92.
Thank you.
Yeah. 93 actually, but yeah.
93 are the comparables.
So I just wanted to say one thing on that too, is all of the counties in this study have a HR director, and if they don't have a generalist or specialist, they have a HR manager also. So that would,
I looked at Otter Tail though, and the one, they have 2.5 people in HR, and one of them is a payroll specialist.
yes, but if you look at, if you look at the rest of them, the Otter Tail also has an HR generalist too. Does that
The
make sense?
half-time HR director.
Yeah.
If I may, I know Otter Tail, I've had some conversations with them. I know that they are looking at increasing their staffing in HR directly because I believe their county administrator is doing some of that as well.
Well, their HR director is only doing half, so I imagine that they have an assistant administrator, don't they? Or don't they title that something like that, or it's,
Yeah, they do have an assistant
so I
administrator.
imagine that's
Oh, yeah.
their other half
Perhaps.
duty.
That's probably their other half.
I would assume that's where the half comes from. It's certainly not a lower, I mean, if it's a half position, your other half is assistant administration, I would assume.
The county administrators in the two counties that have a 0.5, they are doubling as the county administrator and the HR director.
You look at Hubbard County being a smaller county, they got 4 in there.
Yeah. One is
One's
payroll.
payrolls.
Yeah.
Payroll is
Yeah.
only added into the study if they actually report to the HR department. Here in
Okay.
Becker County, they do not, so I didn't add it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wanted those comparables to show, to justify that switch too. so.
Yeah, yeah.
And I will say historically, when I was in Tiara's position previously, when I came in, I mean, it was noted right away that that position was doing, I think really when it came to be full-time, obviously there was a need for an add of the personnel, but as we assigned duties and such, it was pretty evident that that was beyond an assistant position. But she does most, I would say, the majority of the benefits administration as well, so.
So the next position with the change would be moving to the recorder's office. The chief deputy recorder currently is at a 7. We are adding a career ladder into that office. So due to the career ladder, we would potentially be moving the chief deputy to an 8 from a 7. The deputy recorder 1 would not change. That's currently a grade 5 and would stay there. Looking at adding a deputy recorder 2, that would be a grade 6. And then a deputy recorder 3, that would be back up to the Torrens information in the office. So that would be the direct backup to our chief deputy, who currently is the only one doing Torrens in that office.
And we had talked about this at courthouse where the recorder 1 and 2, there could be more than one person there. That could be an advancement possibility. The recorder 3 would be only one person and maybe no person, depending upon if we're able to do the torrent, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be a new position. It would be somebody that would be elevated in the recorder's office.
Correct. All of the positions with career ladders and all of these implementations, there would be no additional headcounts that we'd be looking to add to any of the departments. It would be if their qualifications match what's necessary for those positions, going back to the department heads and asking for that move. And the remainder of the job descriptions are for the highway department, and there were no changes in grades or anything. It was just minimal tweaks to verbiage.
Any questions, Tara? Ask for a motion to approve the job descriptions as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the job descriptions as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Barry. More discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
We're a little ahead of schedule.
Here we are.
Take a little early break.
We can do that.
Yeah, Brian's not here yet, so
No, Jim's not here.
I suppose we could let people have early Christmas tea cookies.
We could. Not opposed.
Presume Jim was coming.
Yeah, I think so.
That's my understanding. I thought y'all were going to talk. My bad.
Barry's not feeling well, so.
You're fine.
I-
Just gotta.
Or talk-wise.
More water.
So we'll take a little
Take a little break.
break.
Some
Mr. Chair, just one, can we? When are we meeting for the cannabis again? Can you give update or tell me the time and date again for that, when we're going to have the?
I had a meeting yesterday with Kyle, and he is currently working on an ordinance for that, a model ordinance, and which will go before the planning commission tomorrow night. And so the intent would be then to bring that back with whatever input tomorrow on the 31st.
Okay, so the meeting, that's a,
The
the
special
meeting
meeting,
is
yes.
8:30? Was what time?
Can't remember, is it 8:15 or 8:30?
I feel like we showed it was a different time than we normally are, but it was still in the morning.
Yeah.
It was next Tuesday, yeah, or the 31st, excuse
I
me,
just
not
can't
next
remember if
Tuesday.
it was like 8:30 or
8:30 is sticks in
9,
my.
maybe, yeah.
Are we,
I mean, I guess that doesn't matter.
are we doing end of the year bills at that same meeting? Because usually finance, we authorize finance.
Yeah, as long as we go.
I would, yes, and there might be one other
8:30.
additional item as well, but anything that we need to, we'll put on
Yeah.
for that meeting.
8:30.
Does that answer your question?
Clean up
Yes.
the end of the year.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, because usually we just tell finance to go ahead.
Yeah, Peggy was just saying she has it on her calendar for 8:30.
8:30.
31st.
Let me sleep 15 more minutes.
I don't know why we're doing.
8:30 is fine. Morning, Joe.
Good morning, Commissioners. Since we do have a little extra time, I just wanted to provide a little update on the Heartland Trail. I know Mr. Meyer had mentioned that we would be opening bids soon, and actually, I think he might have confused that with the trail up in Itasca Park. They did open bids, and they did have good results up there, but we are just going to be advertising that work now this week, and then we're set to open bids in kind of early, mid-January, and then I'll seek project award at the board meeting, their second board meeting in January for that project. So we're hopeful for good bids as well on that project. Another reason I wanted to mention that I didn't know if that project you would want included in our 5-year plan or not. We're just kind of administering the work. We have no funds in it except our, we put a little bit of money into buying some easements, which we'll be seeking reimbursements, but all the construction funds and the engineering funds are being financed through the DNR and the bond monies there. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. If you wanted to include it in the 5-year plan, we could add that. I guess the reasoning I think that is typically when you approve the resolution, then you authorize us to go forward and advertise for bids and stuff like that without bringing special agenda items to request advertisement for bids. So I guess I'm kind of recommending maybe we should just add it to the 5-year plan. So when you approve the 5-year plan resolution, then you will be authorizing us to advertise that project.
That makes sense.
All right, the first item is our transit tax, our sales tax that we use to fund our roads. We had a public hearing this past Thursday. There were a fair turnout, mostly for tax reasons, but there was good interest in our projects. We have selected 5 projects for next year that was presented. We have projects on County Road 7, which is a grade widening, and County Road 16 as well. That's in the northwest part of the county. We also have a project on County Road 7 in downtown Lake Park, including CASA 80 is that little loop street,
80,
which is
okay,
around on
that's
there.
what I thought it was.
So that is included in our smart tax program. And then we have a continuation of work on County Road 34 up in the Richwood area. We're going to finish that all the way up to Strawberry Lake Store. And then 35 from 143 up to 113, we're going to be overlaying that road as well. That's an upgrade. Some of you don't know, but that road is not technically a paved road. We did that autoseal, and that is nearing the end of its life. It served us well, and an overlay would then beef that road up, and that's why we selected that road. Then finally, you are contributing $150,000 towards the Wanigan Park the road entrance there, they're planning a roundabout there. That's kind of your commitment to help them with that project. The resolution then authorizes this work to be done and continue the sales tax. We started this in 2014. It's been a very great funding source for our roads. I think we've generated nearly $30 million over these 10 years. And we've delivered probably $28 million worth of projects on that.
It's fortunate that we are such an active county. I mean, we have the big Walmart and the Menards and these box stores. There are counties that this sales tax doesn't help them much because there's no, I mean, we get a lot of this income from tourists or people out of county paying for this because but you know, those smaller counties, you hear people complaining about the transit dollars at our state conventions, and we're sitting there kind of going, yeah, you know, we are very fortunate to be in Becker County because that sales tax from outside residents is huge for our infrastructure. So
Okay.
I guess we're requesting approval of resolution 2G.
Is there a motion to approve 2G?
I'll make a motion to approve 2G.
I'll second.
Second by Dave. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried.
thank you, Jim, for managing this too.
Yeah.
Next item is the adoption of the 5-year plan. Currently, the new 5-year plan will run from 2025 to 2029. We've updated that and made some adjustments to our plan. That was presented again at the meeting. I guess I can just highlight a lot of those same roads that are being funded by smart taxes are on the 5-year plan, obviously. A few additional roads would be County Road 26, where we were doing some reclaiming work. And essentially that's the new roads there for next year. I don't know if you want me to run through the rest. The 5-year plan is posted on our website after adoption. We have that map that's out there so people can see and kind of plan, you know, what's going on and understand where work's going to be occurring in their area. So with that, I'm requesting adoption of Resolution 2H.
Do we want to add to that resolution the Heartland Trail?
And the Heartland Trail, yes, we could, yep,
Okay.
make the amendment there, yes.
We did pull off paving Richard's driveway, didn't we? We didn't allow that.
That's next year.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve 2H with the added Heartland Trail?
I'll make a motion to approve 2H.
I'll second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then finally, we've been requested to act as a sponsor for the City of Lake Park and their EDA. And they are seeking funding to construct a new pedestrian trail around Lake Flora. If people aren't familiar, this is kind of right near the park there, just east and north of that. Would be a good addition to that area. The trail will go around the old lake bed of Lake Flora. Essentially, it isn't really a lake, but it's a dry bed. And it would connect to their park and then also provide opportunities, you know, with the Heartland Trail coming through there in the future for additional, you know, recreation for offshoots off the Heartland Trail or just, you know, exploring Lake Park.
Yeah, this is I think the first step of what they would like to do, their vision there. And I think it's a real good opportunity. There is one part that would need a boardwalk, or it depends on which plan they're going with, but that would be a boardwalk over a wetter part, and that basically goes over to where that corn maze is that they have for kids during the Pumpkin Fest. But then it would also, in the long run, the vision is to have access a bike trail, walking trail out to LaBelle Lake, because there's kids that go fishing there all the time, and we would like to improve that accommodation and not have them fishing off the road, obviously, and get a dock system out there for them, because there is a lot of people that walk that road and use that fishing access. So I think this is a good start for it, and I hopefully that we can get help them funding out to the lake for the kids fishing, so.
Yes, the resolution, I just want to have one amendment or revision in it. They came back with some new numbers, slight adjustment in the amount they're requesting. We'll change that to $424,426. But otherwise, that amount is through the Transportation Alternatives Program. That's essentially programmed or solicited by the West Central Initiative. It's a competitive program. They compete against other, safe routes to school projects and trail projects and that. So hopefully it looks like a good project, and hopefully they'll be successful in their money or obtaining their monies there. Our role is to essentially administer the money and pass it through them, but I will assist them in any fashion that they need for preparing plans or construction, advising them on that as well.
Thank you, Jim. I will make a motion to approve resolution 1224-2I.
Motion by Barry. Is there a second?
Well, go ahead.
I'll second.
Second by Richard. Further discussion?
Do we want to have that resolution have that new amount in it?
That was included with
Yeah,
the
included.
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you, Jim, for your help.
Thanks,
on
Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Brian? Right on schedule with you.
What a deal.
It never happens.
Good morning.
that. Morning, Brian.
Morning.
So the Crow Wing River Watershed Plan is going before the Bowser Board January 22nd for approval. We have a Northern Region Committee meeting January 6th in Bemidji, where the plan will get presented to that committee at that time, and then they recommend it to the Bowser Board for their meeting on the 22nd. So in the meantime, we've been working on the work plan for the funding, which is approximately $1.7 million for 2 years for the Crow Wing. And this committee, the staff, has come to an agreement on how to divvy up those funds to implement throughout the watershed. And in order to put that work plan into place, we need the policy committee to approve that. So getting all this put in place ahead of time so that once the plan's approved, we can get the policy committee together and approve the work plan and get that request submitted to Bowser for the funding. So this memorandum of agreement between all the LGUs in the watershed is very, very similar to the MOAs that we have for the other watersheds. The only real difference in this agreement is the LGUs, of course, but in this one, we're going to have 3 be the main players. There's 3 LGUs that are one's going to be the fiscal agent, one's going to be the administration of the plan, and then one is going to be a coordinator that basically schedules all the meetings, takes the minutes, and keeps track of those things. So typically those duties have been split between 2 LGUs in the past, and this one they're going to split it 3 ways. So, but otherwise that's, the discussion was held about whether we wanted to have a formal joint powers agreement or a memorandum of agreement, and all the LGUs agreed that they wanted the memorandum of agreement. So that's the resolution before you today to approve entering into this MOA for implementation of the Crow Wing Watershed Plan.
Do I have a motion to enter in the MOU with Crow Wing Watershed District?
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Motion by Erica, second by Dave.
Just a question then. So on this agreement with the the agreement, there's a whereas in there about White Earth Nation, and it says to enter into joint powers agreements. Is that
They've
They
been
got-
involved in
they-
it.
Right, but I just, the joint
Because it
powers,
says joint powers agreement in there. Yeah, I
Should that-
wonder why that,
should that read joint powers or MOU?
right? Where is that at, Barry?
It's, that's the third whereas.
Okay.
Maybe we should get that clarified.
Well, I
Well,
have
there-
supported, I support it either if it's joint powers or MOU. I don't, but should you do a slash MOU or?
Right, right.
Well, I think this was sent to all the counties for their board approval.
Right. So they just have authority to enter into joint powers agreements, so,
I don't know if it matters, but this is not a joint powers agreement.
right. This is just a memorandum of agreement, so. I think the statement really is just saying that they have authority to join in when they decide if they want to or not. But
It would limit them to join the MOU. I mean, it just states that they have joint powers.
right,
It's kind of, it just throws it for a little bit of a loop when you see it's not a joint powers, but
but they have authority to join up joint powers, yeah. So it doesn't apply, right?
yeah, Becker County has the power to be in joint powers too. We don't list that.
Right.
I don't know if it makes a difference or not. Carrie, you're the lawyer.
Oh, I would think it would be worth at least clarifying the language.
I would say, I'd like this, as if we approve it pending attorney review,
Yeah, well, he has to sign, yeah. So.
but just with that note,
certainly clarify that to be
that's,
Sure.
that it's not gonna affect.
worded correctly, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, like you say, Brian will have to sign on that, so just make sure he,
So just make a point to ask that question.
yeah.
Correct. With that, we got a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right,
Thanks, Brian.
thank you.
Brian?
Now we'll take another little break. We'll wait till 10 o'clock for planning and zoning.
Do we have cookies now?
He's eating them anyways.
Yeah,
Actually, I was.
they're good. Good.
I had a donut.
Environmental Thursday.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Planning Commission recommendations from December 11th, one item, requesting a change of zone from agricultural to residential for Brian and Jill Andring. The recommendation was to approve.
Mr. Chair, I was just curious, is this property going to be annexed? Is that what we were told?
No,
Not in the meeting.
no, it's just a hair over a mile as a crow flies from incorporated limits.
And my point is always request to change the zone from ag to residential allows the landowner then to reduce lot size to 1 acre. And I know that I see the township does not approves, will have just no problems with it, but they still want to be, that's the problem. Once you approve it, the township has no rights to alter anything. And I mean, if once the developer gets this changed, they don't have to, they're smart to work with the township, but there's township has no official input on where the lot size specifically, but
They won't have any input on lot size, but they will have the approval of the plat. Obviously,
but
if
they would have to have something, some reasons not to approve it.
Right.
You can't just not approve it because you don't like 1 acre lots.
right.
So I think without having a plat in front of you, I just see, this isn't my district, but my district does not want 1 acre lots. So
This is my district, and I talked to some of the people out there. One guy had a problem with changing out agricultural over to residential, and then I asked him if, okay, you want a hog facility over there? And he didn't want that. And so
I think we agree it's residential.
it is, it's a good place
residential.
for it. It's hard to develop property and make money, and actually, I work on a lot of 1 acre lots and I don't have any trouble fitting everything in there. And so we're short of housing in this county, and somebody needs to do more development because we're just, and they have to make money at it. That's just
And there
the way
was,
it is.
there was only, at the planning commission meeting, only, I think, one person that, and I don't know that they necessarily spoke against it as much as just concerns about water management and drainage. So, I mean, I think it makes sense. It's within our new comp plan for it to become residential. I would agree, it would have been nice to have seen a plat of what the plans are for it, but.
Joins a lot of other residential to the east. There's smaller lots and.
There's a lot of it around there.
I think residential is, I mean, obviously, but being a residential area doesn't mean it should be the size. I mean, when I drive around in my area, you look at these homes that are being built and they are huge. So, and we say, well, we have less than 1 acre lots on the lakes, and we are cramming, they are building, their eaves are over the lines on lakes. So when do you allow 1 acre lots, eventually they're gonna be crammed on every buildable inch on that property. I mean, in some cases, because that's what we do. And I always say, I'm guilty of it too. I want what I want when I want. I'm just saying, these are not developments that if they're maximizing, now this one might come in and suit it, be larger and but we don't have that knowledge. So I'm just pointing out what the concerns are on the smaller lots with overdevelopment, because you look at the 2.5 acre lots that are being developed, these houses are huge. They're outbuildings. And they look nice, but there's a lot of space there too. So it makes a nice aesthetic. And
Even an acre lot that's basically 208 feet square, still a lot of area. And like you said, 2.5 acre lots are overbuilding on those. They can, so.
It's got to be kind of what you want if that lot's, they're not big enough for everybody, Barry, but they are plenty big enough for some people.
And I think if you had a plan that showed you that, and I'll leave this, Kyle and I had a meeting with a developer, and this was a community lot, and they had pads for people buildings, and they couldn't build outbuildings, and so you knew what was coming. And that was I think that was an average 1 acre, one house per acre on that, because I think it was a 12 acre with 12, that's what they're asking for. So those cases make more sense where but that's my opinion. And
Well, and this would have to come forward with a plat, which I know your concern is that you
can't
have to have
change it.
reason to change it.
There's no reason if it's commercial or if it's residential, as long as they're within that guideline, you have no recourse to change it. You have no legal right to change it. That's where I'm at. And again, this is residential and it could be higher density. I'm not arguing that, but you don't know what's coming, so.
Okay, wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of zone.
I'll second.
Motion by Richard, second by Erica. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried.
Second item for consideration is the comprehensive land use plan. Changes were made to page 19 just to clarify that the job openings of 20-some thousand were in the Northwest Planning Region. Then also on page 35, we removed the watersheds specific names and just listed watersheds, lake associations, and soil and water. And then the future land use map was reduced from 2 miles to a half a mile of residential future zoning around Lake Park and Audubon.
I'd like to probably postpone this till the 31st. It's come to my attention that the environmental services section should be updated, and I'd like to see Kyle and Carrie and Steve work that out, because we have a special meeting on the 31st. We could, or any other little things that pop up. So,
I think it should be postponed too. The one thing that I see on here, now, I think we got a nice detailed map finally. Is this the first time can zoom in and see the detail more? Because this is the first one that I've seen now. At Lake Park, I see there's a commercial site, and it's, from what I gather on this is just west of Senex. But inside there's a little development of housing. In that case specific, I would like to see the commercial be the first 1,000 feet of Highway 10. I mean, I think Highway 10 is a commercial corridor. So, I mean, honestly, if you wanted to put, from Lake Park or from the county line, I mean, I think we agree that that's a commercial draw. Now, it's not all going to be commercial, but if you're on Highway 10, that's a commercial opportunities there. So, but it's just,
Well, I would just suggest if it's the 31st, that you have, the budget is almost there. You're going to be amending that contract here shortly if we keep, I can change sentences, but I can't change that GIS map and thing.
that's why I want you three, or you and Steve, to get with Carrie and just update it. It's a minimum, my understanding, so let's get
Just
it quick.
not the map, or
Well,
we're talking the environmental services,
Yeah,
but you're talking the map.
He's
right?
talking the map. now.
well, I'm just saying that we finally see a detailed map where you can zoom in and see what individual sections are.
Again, this is possible
Yeah,
future
it's
land.
just possible.
So
It doesn't mean that it's gonna be.
change down the road to expand.
That's the big thing about it. It's just what could go there, not what.
Over the
what
next
is gonna
10 to
go
15
there, Or
years.
it's gonna be allowed, but it could be allowed. And sooner or later, we have to finish this thing.
31st is our deadline.
Are we gonna finish it?
Yes.
Because I thought we were gonna finish it before.
Long time ago.
I should have took the opportunity on December 3rd is what I should have did. I should have took you on that.
And so we really do need it I don't have any problems with it the way it is right now.
There's a few little glitches in it. Let's see if we
Get
can
'em.
iron it out.
Whoever.
Just whatever they are, the easiest thing is just to send that to, if any department, Jim, the sheriff, if anyone has updated information, send it to the consultant, they'll fix it.
Okay.
That's
Now we got township people here for this, aren't they? Is that what they're here for?
I don't know.
just to listen, but I just telling Brian here, that in 1970 was probably one of the first regional meetings that was held in Detroit Lakes for planning and kind of developing. And like I said the other meeting was 20-some years ago, when we did a comprehensive, it mainly was for commercial, right, John?
No.
And like I said, John and I are the only ones left, and Dan Holmes ran it. We had several meetings, and I agree with Barry on that it should stay because you got that long railroad running to the north, basically got most of that through 10. And I'm just here to listen on where it's going to shake out.
Okay. Consent of the board to move this to the 31st and just make.
I'd agree. Yep.
Yeah, I would.
And anything you want to change, you better get it on the next week and a half.
Well, it's a little disappointing to me that Bolton Mink is starting to balk on. They got extra payments before. They got a large sum initially and came back and asked for more, and they haven't done what the contract states. The ordinances have not even been brought to us yet, and that was supposed to be the first thing. So to have them say that they are going to be asking for more money, in my opinion, is preposterous. I mean,
Well, they didn't say it. I just know there's some hours left, but
hours left. They haven't accomplished what was contracted.
Right.
They have not fulfilled the contract, and we're going to let them off the hook from fulfilling that contract because now they're saying we put more hours in, and they haven't even addressed they copied and pasted part from their old. So I just am disappointed. And the detail is still rough detail on these maps. So I don't know. I just I think we should postpone it till the next meeting. And again, I just don't want these maps to be, these are just guidelines, and I think we have to put an asterisk on there because every case is specific. If someone comes in ag on Highway 10 and in Audubon and says, this should be, this is a commercial use, I want a conditional use, we're going to grant it, but it's zoned ag now. So, I mean, it's so imperfect.
That's going to happen.
well, I think we should meet with them then in between now and the 31st. I would suggest.
Excuse me. But anyway, make a motion to table till the 31st.
Motion to table, have a second?
Second.
Erica, further discussion?
Mr. Chair, just for clarification, Kyle, are you?
Well, I'm clear on the solid waste, but I'm not clear on the maps. I mean, I don't want to come back here on the 31st and have the same.
You said meet with them. I just want to make sure.
I would say the consultants and whoever.
Like a work
has-
session or?
Well, we can just have a Teams meeting, but whoever has concerns from this board about those maps, we should be meeting.
If we can do something like an asterisk or something, because these maps don't mean that that's gonna be that way. And they're just,
it's a future.
it is a
land
future of
use.
what it
It's-
could be, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna be that way. And if we get too tied up on something that could be that way, and we, that's my thing.
It's a tool for us to use in
It-
future decision making.
It is.
I think it's a tool and a prediction of what you think might happen.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna happen.
This is a very, very poor tool then, if that's what it is. Because we have so much yellow in cropland that we're supposed to be trying to protect our ag. And you have more yellow, you have more acres around Lake Park in 100% ag land than you have in the city of Lake Park itself. There is no future development of our residential 1 acre lots a half mile west of Lake Park. It's not ever going to happen because you should have to be in proximity with some services. So if you want that residential density, you should be in a residential area or adjoining it. So it's very difficult to see some of these maps that are, well, some of it's even on fish and wildlife land that they just overlay a map. They didn't check anything on it. We have state land in the middle of a lake that's.
But Mr. Chair, we drew them, we told them where to put that. That's not.
That's not on them.
I'm just saying the direction was given. We had a work session and the
I
markers
don't know,
came out.
Mary, you know, it might be ag land today, but land, for me, land is land. Whoever buys the land then can decide what that's America. I bought this field. I don't want it to be a field anymore. Even you said that the price of land to try and grow something on it and make a profit has gotten out of hand. So
Right, but
if you're gonna just say that can only be ag land, now you're devaluing that land for everybody.
I'm not saying it should only putting any restrictions on it. What I'm saying is that it's not our responsibility to make sure a developer can make money on residential and lower the number of units or.
Well, I think somebody's got to do something because we don't have any housing. We have
Well, I think the
businesses here, but we don't have any housing for people, and it's a huge problem in Becker County. And
Well, the city of Lake Park has promoted a huge apartment complex now and new single-family homes are all around in where the old ballparks were. I think Audubon is expanding, and there's growth on those cities that's where you want your residents in small lots to be. And again, this map is the map is for people coming in looking where they can put R1 or residential lots or commercial lots, and I don't know that it reflects. Again, they're not going to be buying farmland that's all farmland unless most likely in those areas. It's not going to happen because people won't sell it to them for one, so I don't know. I have mixed emotions. I think you could put this map out there in a comp plan. No one's going to look at it and pay much attention to it. But I think if you have a developer saying, I want to put, a commercial site on Highway 10 and it's not zoned commercial, you're still going to do it. But I think we should have the same rights to say that just because this is zoned residential, we're not going to make this residential land, we're not going to change this to residential, a quarter of land out in the middle of a field that someone buys. That's my opinion. If you want to put your 2.5 acre lots out there and develop it, that's your right. But I just don't want to give someone buying a 40 and saying, I'm going to be able to put 1 acre lots on this because it's in yellow. That's a concern. And I think that's a concern for.
Well, I think that it should be stated clearly that this is not going to automatically okay anything, because we know that, and I don't know how you put it in there. But it's not automatically okay in anything. And
I think maybe if you just set around those cities with cities, expansion plan. If it's included in the city's expansion plan, would be helpful, because the city is looking at an industrial park and we don't have any industrial area for that. Just north of 10 on the east side, that's their potential growth for industrial. So and we would approve that too. I mean,
I think what we have to think of is Becker County, as we've said many times over the last several months, is we're one of the only growing counties in our region, and we have to take that into consideration. And Lake Park has done a great job at bringing housing to Lake Park, but Lake Park's only so big, and pretty soon Lake Park's going to have to expand outside, and this, I guess, shows that. So I think we need more housing, as Richard has said.
They just finished that apartment building in Lake Park, and it's full immediately, and there's people everywhere looking for a place to live. And so
I guess concerns, get them to Kyle and get them to our consultant, and we got to get this finalized by the 31st.
Is there something, Kyle, that we can put in there, like what Barry suggested about city expansion? I don't remember what you said. City expansion plan.
Yeah, maybe if you just say with coordinating with the city's
for future expansion.
For the smaller lots.
For your
Well, yeah,
smaller.
the cities have a comprehensive land use plan too, right? So I mean, they should be identifying it, like the Detroit Lake City has identified their growth, but they don't probably want to limit themselves either. They probably want to say we have the potential to go every direction.
Motion and a second, table it till the 31st. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. we're adjourned and everybody's invited to stay around for some goodies, Commissioner treats, Commissioner T.
I just don't see the point if it's future.